incredibly quickly. So these are the relationships in the ecosystem, okay? The first thing, and this wasn't part of your projects, describes that two organisms in ecosystem oftentimes live very close together. I wouldn't say rely on each other, and that used to be a big bulk of this definition. They just live closely together. What word is that? That's a good word. That's true. But it describes the relationship because they live closely together. Anybody know? It starts with an S. What? Symbiosis. Good job. Symbiosis is a term that describes two organisms living closely together. Now, in your notes, this slide was before this slide. And I moved it. For a while, I taught this slide alone, and then I taught symbiotic relationships. But it turns out that this is a symbiotic relationship, because if these two organisms do not live closely together, they can't have that relationship. What is this relationship? Predation. One organism actively hunts the other, but again, if they don't live closely together, it can't exist. And this is actually an extreme example of one of the ones that was presented today. What is it? Yes. Good job. And that wasn't even yours, was it? Who was coevolution? Mm-hmm. So this is an extreme example of coevolution. And yes, predation was one of the examples of today, because they generally tend to evolve to live close to each other in order to survive. It's sad because one of them gets hunted, which is called what? By definition. Prey. And the hunter? Predator. That's predator-prey relationship, okay? In this relationship, both organisms benefit. What's that called? An easy one to remember. They both benefit. Can somebody explain in this picture what is happening that describes mutualism? In order to get this right on the exam, you have to explain both relationships. Good. We don't know if it's a parasite. We don't know if it's flies. We don't know. Who cares? The bird is feeding off something that's on the zebra, and the zebra benefits. So the bird gets the food. The zebra gets whatever that organism that's trying to live off the zebra gets off of them. What relationship is this? Where one organism benefits and the other is indifferent or neutral or gets nothing. Commensalism. This is the one that people tend to miss on the test, because the name doesn't really reference the relationship. I would say commensalism and amensalism are the two that you actually have to remember, because mutualism, easy. Predator-prey, you've learned your whole life, okay? But commensalism, one organism benefits, the other is indifferent or neutral or feels nothing or gets nothing. So I would say the example today, which was you guys, right? The first one was, what was it? Which was a real world. Who was commensalism? What was your first example? And the tiger got nothing. Why? That's true. So the tiger fed, it's done, and the jackal gets the remains. Didn't you have another example? No? Okay. I think it's amensalism where I want to talk about that one. So the tiger fed, it's done, and the same thing happens with the shark. The shark feeds, the remains float around because he feeds so sloppy, and the remora gets the food that's left over. What else can the remora get? Protection. So it's like a double whammy for the remora. What's this? Parasitism. One benefits, the other gets harmed. Now, what's the difference between this and predation? True. If the parasite kills its host, it has no more food, or no more survival. Parasites live on their host. Predators do not live on their prey. They actively hunt their prey, so that's kind of a difference. I don't know if it's they don't want to. It's when they do, they're done, right? So, but if a parasite takes over, it'll eventually, if you can't fight off your parasite, eventually it could lead. I mean, lice won't do that. Let's say lice in your hair, but it's literally feeding off blood in your body. Like, yeah. Yes. This is the chapter where I struggle. Yes. I mean, this relationship. My hair starts to get itchy and yeah. All right, the amensalism. Let's start with neutralism because that one's easy. Neutralism, what? Nothing. They just hang out. Honestly. None benefit, none get harmed. They're just hanging out. I don't even know if this is a relationship, but because they live closely together and it's a form of symbiosis, they gave it a name. These are hard to prove. That's what they call these. What about amensalism? I call this the greedy one. Nope. Good. One gets harm and one, not even for fun. One gets harm and the other? Nothing. The selfish relationship. I'm going to harm you for no reason at all. So in this case, this is called the black walnut. It secretes a chemical that's going to kill the surrounding species, but it's doing it for no reason. Not because it's competing for resources, nothing. It just excretes the chemical. Tell me what your example was for amensalism. Tom and Jerry was the first one. It's for no specific reason. He doesn't get anything out of it because he's selfish. They don't share a space. They don't share food. So why do you want to get them out? You don't eat them. Okay, good. All right. Then we've got this. What's this? Competition. So organisms fighting for limited resources is competition. Now you said intra. Which one of those is intra? You guys did a great job, by the way, of explaining it. Period A kind of missed on the point. Intra, you think of the word A because it's the same species. Both are types of competition. Inter, you underline ER for what? Different species, okay? I remember when they were presenting, I asked them if you would have put Noah and, who did I say, Maddie, is it the same thing? Yes, because they're the same species. So two species that are the same competing for a resource, like a chair in a class or the last Snickers, that's intra. Inter is two different species. So you're competing for some kind of resource. Maybe it's, I've seen it. Lions and tigers, right, in their environment, looking for the same food. All right, this is a chart. And you're either going to put a plus when you do your notes, a minus, or a 0. Plus for positive, minus for negative, 0 for neutral. So what would predation be? Plus and negative. For me, it's happy faces and sad faces, but for you, it could just be, you could do whatever you want to describe it. Mutualism. Happy, happy. Both benefit plus, plus. Commensalism. Happy, neutral. Plus 0. Yes? Parasitism. Happy, sad. Same as predation. Difference is parasites live on their host and they can't kill their host. Amensalism. Neutral, sad. Neutralism. How easy is that one? And competition? Sad, sad. Good job. All right, last slide. If a population needs are not met, actually there's one more. Let's pause. So in a population, if their needs are not met or there's a struggle, what can happen? One can die, or both, yes. They can leave and seek their source somewhere else. They can adapt or evolve over time. Or fight. Is there a specific order? No. Is there a specific answer? No. It just depends. And I would say they can intertwine because competition can lead to adaptation and evolution, and migration is an adaptive trait in a sense. So they kind of, death is the one you want to try to avoid. So what is evolution by definition? Genetic change within a species over time. I got that last class too. Now, If I give rise to a change, is that evolution? So you're saying change within a species. If I change, if I give birth and my baby changes, is that evolution? No. It's called variation, yes? What has to happen for evolution for it to be considered evolution? More of that change. It's the population, guys. I can't stress this enough. Populations evolve. So I'm going to have you write down this statement. Genes mutate. This was a bio question. It's an AP question. Genes mutate. Species do what? Adapt. Populations evolve. Okay? So I'll repeat it. Genes mutate. Species adapt. Populations evolve. In order for evolution to occur, in order for that change within a population to exist, what has to happen? Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Reproduce.